G'day punters, we're back for another episode of Tipster. Michael Gannon, how are you today, mate?
Mate, I'm doing really well. Just got off the farm in the old lumberjack shirt and ready to roll.
The lumberjack one's back, fantastic. We're ready for another great episode. Obviously, Mick, now we turn our eyes to the west, the Wild West, and this episode's pretty much dedicated to that. Obviously, punters, look, a lot of Eastern Seaboard punters are probably looking at the old Ascot track for one of their first times or rare times during the year. So haven't we got an episode for you? You must hang around for the whole lot, because here's what we're dishing up, Mick. We're going to start off and tell you who's been shooting the lights out in WA, top five media. Then we're going to interview the guy we spoke about last week, Chris Blackwell. He is flying, one of the red hot favourites for Tips of the Year. Not only is he going to tell us a little bit about himself, he's going to give us some hints about the Ascot course, but he's also going to give us his exclusive tip before anyone else sees it. So hang around for that.
Love that.
Yeah, it's something to hang around for. But it even continues after that, Mick, because we're doing things a bit different this week with the big Ascot meeting up coming up this weekend. We actually got Ascot tips from people who are shooting the lights out on the site, media and otherwise. So you're going to see quick little videos of their best bets. So you've got to hang around for it in that third segment.
Mate, and tell you what, I got a mixed moral, currently $26. So tune in for that one as well.
There we go. And we're going to get that towards the end of the show as well. So it's going to show you who's shooting the lights out in the West. We're going to talk to one of the guns in the West, Chris Blackwell from ozrace.com.au. And then you're going to get exclusive best bets from gun WA tipsters who have got the form on the board. We don't just say they're gun right, Mick. We prove it. They prove it on our site, and we tell you about it.
Absolutely. Let's get into it, mate.
Let's get into it. So, Mick, as promised, we're going to look at the top five overall to start off with here. These are the top five tipsters taking into consideration the media experts and the pro punters on the site. Have a look at this lot. I mean, just take a look at these stats, Mick. I mean, they are
some impressive efforts there, isn't there, mate?
Yes. Look, 365 days, and those cash profits are off $100 win bet. So, like, when you look at some of those profit percentages, strike rates, whatever, it's just colossal. It's fantastic. And I was going to say, Mick, I mean, we see a greater proportion of WA punters make it to pro status than I would say any other state in Australia. So I don't know if that means it's easier to punt there, or there are just a hell of a lot of better punters in the West, mate. I don't know. What do you think?
Clearly easier to punt there. Let's be honest, fair income. But they look. I think it's obviously less horses, less racing makes it a little easier.
Sure.
But in saying that, there's some freakish talent coming from WA. So up you go. We'll be definitely following Blackie, Macintosh, Clueless. We'll have to have a chat to them about their name there. Absolutely flying. Might need to change that.
Yeah, I mean, Clueless was our tipster of the month. Previous shows. Latham's been in about 2 or 3 shows.
I might swap with Clueless. I can have Clueless. They can have me.
Yeah, I like it. I think he's having a bit of with those sort of stats, I think he's having a bit of a joke about it all, but he's no joke, and he's serious, and he certainly makes a fair bit of money on the site through his hot bets and through his tip sales. So there's no joke about that, I can assure you. But he's certainly a pro punter. There is no doubt about that. And even when you look at his tips and what he does with his tips, and I suppose for those who buy it, they'll find it out. Remember, all these people are available on our site with the pro badge. So yeah, look, these are the guys, and look out, we've got some special best bet tips coming up where you're going to get first ear on who they are tipping in the Big Ascot Carnival on Saturday. So Mick, let's now put up the leaderboard, or the top 5 for just the media, so just the media experts who tip in WA. And this is again a 365-day list here. Of course, Chris Blackwell's at the top because he was on the overall leaderboard at the top. And just going through a few of these, Craig White there from Winning Post, again, always seems to be a winning post. Remember, folks, we cover all the tipsters. So when you're seeing these brands pop up all the time, means that they've got some pretty sharp dudes in there because, you know, they're punching above their weight and appearing more than the others. So all power to the boys at Winning Post, appearing a lot there. Cody Lane, who has come across to the great tip-off stable, I should say, Mick. I mean, Mick, he tips in Melbourne, puts his best bets up there for us, and here he is on the WA leaderboard.
Low flying, mate. 123 tips in WA, so clearly covers a bit of that and does a fine job. So I'll be sliding into Cody's DMs and seeing what he can give me for Saturday.
Yeah, look, knows what's going on. Hey, Terry Leighton from SEN. Look, the boys at SEN, I said last week, there was about 2 or 3 of them appearing in the Tipster of the Month. Look, all mail was before we started tracking Terry. This guy's a gun, and look, he is a dead set gun, this guy. I'll tell you how good he is. I saw a tweet the other week that he's actually declaring things outright before, you know, $4 or $5 and stuff. And look, to have that sort of courage, you've really got to know your stuff. And gosh, I can tell you what, you can do a lot worse than follow Terry by the sounds of things. And look at those stats again. Shooting the lights out there, and also, Mick, you notice with these guys, they've got pretty healthy average prices, so they're not just tipping your favourite every time, which is good stuff as well.
Yeah, mate, it's good stuff. They're on fire. So we're going to find these boys. We go straight to the great tip off. We'll go to that search panel at the top right, and you type in Chris Blackwell, and away you go.
Absolutely, and of course, you can get them on Oz Race and all their respective sites. Look, these are the guys. You could do a lot worse than following these guys. They've got the runs on the board for the big Ascot Carnival on Saturday. So, Mick, it's come to that time where we're going to talk to a tipster in focus. A bit different this time because you've got to hang around because there's an exclusive early tip here for the Ascot Carnival, for the Ascot race meeting, I should say, on Saturday, the big Railway Stakes meeting. Look, Chris Blackwell, looking at his stats here, as we saw, 11, followed him with a $100 bet over the past 365 days. You're nearly 12K the better. I mean, that's outstanding. And that's using starting prices. So you're going to do a lot better with sort of an average fixed odds price. Just to reflect on a few things, Mick, we spoke about last week when he came up again. He's had 7 profitable months out of the 10 completed months this year. That's 7 out.
Unbelievable.
And if you count, he came 11th one month, but if you put that in the top 10, he's had 4 top 10. So out of those 7, 3 top 10s plus an 11th. So, like, I don't think you can. That's not even just a lucky year. It's just shooting the lights out plus some. So we've been dying to find for this time to come so we could talk to Chris Blackwell in the lead up. Blackie, as he's more affectionately known. Guys at Oz Race are champions. Great site and resource for punters out there as well. So here he is, Mick. Let's hear what he's got to say, and let's hear what his early tip is for Railway Stakes Day at Ascot on Saturday.
Love it. Let's get into it.
Punters, we've promised this to you, and here we are with the man himself, Chris Blackwell. 7 profitable months out of 10, and we've got him here today. And apart from giving us a bit of info about how he does things, he's going to give us his exclusive tip for the Railway Stakes Day, which is coming up this Saturday. Chris, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, Damien. Thanks for having me on. Nice to meet you finally.
Yeah, look, and it's great to see that you're actually a human being, mate. I mean, looking at some of these results, I think the guys at the GTO and certainly some of the punters on the site looking at your stats were probably thinking otherwise there. So now they can see you in the flesh, mate, and realise that you are actually you're the real thing, mate. You're a real person. You're just obviously good at what you do. Hey, Chris, just wanted to start with getting a bit of background, mate. I mean, obviously, how did you get into this race analysis game? And look, who were some of your influences along the way, mate?
Yeah, I've obviously had a pretty keen interest my entire life and grew up following the great Ernie Manning, who's been around for absolutely ever. I've been doing this longer than I have been alive, believe it or not, and just a stalwart of the game, and has always been there in every form of media, and basically, yeah, sort of followed him as a youngster coming through, and also the great Ross Deering, who people will remember as the Lark Hill Spy. And I think the thing that really got me about these two guys is they did the hard yards back in the day before social media, cameras, all that sort of stuff. You know, they used to go to the trials. They used to drop their tips off to railway stations to meet deadlines and all this. It's quite phenomenal what these gentlemen back in the day had to do before the wonders of technology. Yeah. And sort of got a little bit sort of excited about all that, and obviously during uni days worked in the pubs and TABs in the late 80s, early 90s. All of a sudden people are asking you questions about what do you like in this, what do you like in that. So all of a sudden your tips are up in the TAB, and around the late 90s I got approached by a community radio station over here to join a breakfast sports show called Sports Flakes back in the late 90s. And that's where I met my dear friend Robbie Dewar, who's arguably, well, not arguably, he's definitely the greatest mentor I've ever had. He's an absolute gentleman and taught me more than anybody else has in this game. We basically, when Sports Flakes wound up in 2002, we joined forces with a radio show called Coffee and the Form Guide. Yeah. And we did that up until we retired the show in 2018. Then along that path, I met up with Bruce Saxeld and Chris DiMarchi at around 2009, 2010. Bruce was doing Oz Racing syndications, which he's been doing for about 25 years. And we sort of joined him to help out, sort of boost things up a little bit. I was writing some articles and doing tips for the actual syndicate, and then that evolved into in 2015 to Oz Race, where we discovered the wonderful world of social media and realised we weren't the only ones tipping out there. There's millions of people tipping out there these days. We went for many years thinking, you know, really we're the only ones outside the guys getting paid in the paper, believe it or not. So it was quite an eye opener. But yeah, sort of led us to today, and sort of progressed through there. And now we've got a good little team. Obviously, Ben Armstrong, Matt Coxell, BJ Ryan, the boys, Ernie, of course, at Oz Race. We have an absolute blast. We all own horses together and have a bit of fun as well. So yeah, look, it's very much a love job, but you know, it's just great to have the younger guys sort of coming through as well, and with the commitments and whatnot, like the likes of Ernie Manning and Ross Deering back in the day. Yeah, no, look, hey, thanks for that background, and probably explains a lot about why we're seeing these great results too. And obviously the guys here at ozrace.com.au do a great job. Hey, look, obviously just turning our eyes to Railway Stakes Day this weekend, Chris, you've got a lot of punters that, you know, look, this is probably their first bet at Ascot for some time, or they're having few and far between, especially those on the eastern seaboard. We've got our two big races on the day, the Guineas and, of course, the Railway Stakes itself over the 1,600-metre course. What sort of advice can you give punters who, before they start doing their form for the big day, mate? Yeah, the 1,600 is a tricky start point at Ascot. You've got basically start off the course proper there, and you've got about 100 metres run onto the course proper, and then another 100 until you hit your first bend. So traditionally, I sort of like to look for horses that can basically jump well, get into a position in the forward moving line without spending too much petrol. Yeah. Horses that draw wide, if you're a notorious leader and you can get to the front nice and early without expending too much energy, then yeah, you can rate a horse up there and basically see out the mile. But yeah, look, especially this year in particular with the Railway and also the Guineas, we're seeing a lot of very, very talented horses drawing very, very well, and I'm expecting them to sort of sit in the front line moving run there, and yeah, geez, they're the ones that are not going to be spending a lot of energy early in the race, and that's probably the reason they're the favourites. Yeah, so just summarising there, Chris, sounds like speed mat's very important over the 1,600 at Ascot. Race pace and barrier position together to certainly assist with the ride and the effort through the run. And I guess that means that, you know, those getting that easy run, obviously in this case, are probably going to have a bit more left at the end of
end of the day. Hey, with that in mind, what's the tip you got for us there, mate, on Railway Stakes Day?
Yeah, look, I think obviously Western Empire is going to be all the rage in the railway. Drawn very, very well coming out of barrier 3. Gee, they get some luck, the Cerise and White, with barrier draws. They really do. Yeah. Pike on board, won the Asian Bow over the 1400 very impressively. It's hard to believe that this horse was actually won a Bunbury Maiden, back in January this year. It's just outrageous, isn't it, that it's come from there to basically being the raging favourite for a Group 1 race in the railway. Look, it's going to be the one to beat. It's going to lob exactly where we were talking about earlier in that moving line. And gee whiz, like a couple of good judges have said already, it's only bad luck. I think we'll get this one beaten, mate. Of the others, Kiss on All Four Cheeks, probably the main danger, if any. Won the RJ Peters there in absolutely amazing ride to get up and win that race after being in all sorts of trouble. Really found the line well, and I think it's going to have to do that to get anywhere near Western Empire. And the one, I'm not allergic to. I'm allergic to tipping favourites, as most people know, but I guess one at odds here that sort of stands out is the Reece Radford runner here in Son of Bacchus. Yeah. I like this horse a lot, and it's going to need obviously a lot of luck. It's a run-on type. It's going to need those conditions to be prominent at the end. But Reece, as we know, he's won a railway before with the great shot, which we all managed to get on back in 2017, beating our local hero Blackheart Bart, or another local hero Blackheart Bart. Look, if there's going to be some sort of surprise, I'm just going to have a little bit on Son of Bacchus as well. But when all said and done, I think Western Empire is going to be very, very hard to beat in the railway.
All right, so there we have it, Western Empire with Son of Bacchus, obviously something on that as well at odds. Sounds like a good play in the big race there, Chris. Hey, Chris, thanks for your time, mate. It's been great to have you on, and I'm sure the punters are going to benefit from that advice around Ascot and the speed maps and so forth that you said to pay even more attention to, and obviously the tips there for the Railway Stakes. Mate, thank you very much, and we'll look forward to getting you back on again sometime, Chris.
No, look, thanks very much, Damien, and credit to you and the great tip-off doing a wonderful job there as well, keeping us all honest and collating all our results. It's quite unique, isn't it? I find it quite interesting. And good luck to all the punters and tipsters out there. Going to be a big 3 weeks of racing. I'm really, really looking forward to it.
No, great stuff, Chris. Thanks again.
Thanks, mate.
Okay, well, Mick, we're doing things a bit different this week. We are going to give punters what they want. It's always a bit of a challenge with the production schedule, trying to get things done, but we have got exclusive tips, Ascot tips for Railway Stakes Day. We've already given you one there with Blackie. Now we've got a few more from punters who are shooting the lights out, and it's all validated on our site. So not often do you get this straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. From punters who are flying on the site. You're going to see their stats as they give you the tip. So it's definitely worth hanging around for. Get your pen handy and get ready to write them down. Mick, I just want to ask you before we jump into it, have you got an Ascot mixed moral for us this week, or is it something else,
mate? Mate, so how's this? This is just peak me. I'm heading off with the boys for a couple of beers this weekend. We've got the pub booked. My tip will be there's a fair chance I won't be able to see the screen from where I'm sitting. There you go.
No, it won't be an Ascot. But look, hey, just before we run to these guys and get their tips, Mick, I just want to mention we've got a tipster on our site who's WA tipster. She does really, really well. Amy, the Velvet Court is her alias. And I just wanted to make a special mention because the Velvet King, you mentioned is she's a part owner in that horse. It's actually running in the Railway Stakes this
good.
How good's that?
I had a horse once, mate. Debuted at Tamworth, ended up in Northern Territory. Giddy up.
Well, it's
just quietly though. On a side note, got to share in a horse with Beery and Anthony Manton. Well in sight. Watch out. Could be something.
It's looking good, is it? There we go.
But anyway, not about me. Sorry, Amy. Good luck to you.
It's all right, Amy.
I hope your horse flies. I have no idea its form. I hope it wins. And you know what? Up you go.
Yeah, look, hey, we'll be cheering at home for you, Amy, for sure. But with that, let's get into it and let's hear what these Ascot tips are for Saturday Railway Stakes Day.
Massive day over in the west with Group 1 racing returning to Ascot. Trying to find some value in the Group 1s and the Group 2s are pretty tough with the dominance that William Pike is going to have on this card. So we're going to look for a double to try and get the money flowing across the weekend. Let's start with the guineas, and I'm going to be tipping Treasured Star here. Thought it was unlucky last start in the Burgess Queen. Got squashed when it was going for a run by Bazoom. The blinkers go on here. Drawn barrier 6. This is the second favourite at the moment behind Western Empire for the Kingston Town Classic. So I expect this horse to win and win really well and then go on to that Kingston Town. Now the favourite for that event, as I mentioned, is Western Empire. If you follow Racing Base, I put up before the first up run to back Western Empire when it was $6 for the Railway Stakes. I hope a few of you got that price into about $1.80 now, $1.70 at some places as well. So no value there. So let's multi that with Treasured Star. You can still get the $5 and hopefully it's a winning weekend for you.
G'day Tipster viewers, my name's Cody Lane, and of course you can find me on the Great Tip Off website underneath of my name. Looking at WA racing, I found a formula that works quite well there, and in simplistic terms, just looking at each race and the form lines out of it and looking at them in depth, and then also matching them up with identifying how tracks play and where the advantages lie. So I find if you can put those two together, you can often find yourself the winner, and that's sort of what has been serving me quite well over the last 12 months, in particular the last few months where I've struck some good form in WA, and it's a good time of year to be getting some form with their obviously racing carnival just about to kick off this Saturday with the Group 1 Railway Stakes meeting, and that is where my best bet this Saturday comes. It's in race number 9, the Jungle Miss Classic, over 1,200 metres, and it's number 11, Angelic Miss. So I thought this horse was fantastic winning first up. She was very unlucky last start. She just drew a poor barrier 15. She had to get well too far back. She hit the line really strongly late. Was very impressed with the way that she came home. Finished only 1.3 lengths off of Bright Diamond, who's the favourite in this race on Saturday, and is a strong favourite at that as well. She gets a 3 kilo weight swing on that horse here, and she also draws a much better barrier in barrier 1. If she can get that luck up the inside running rail, which we can often see, I think she's going to flash home and be way too strong late, and at $5.50 she's a terrific bet. So if you want to be able to follow that as well as all my other selections, and then obviously back in my hot bets, you can do so on my profile on the Great Tip Off website. Hit the follow button, make sure you get all the alerts when I'm enter my tips for this weekend, and hopefully we can find plenty of winners.
Hey guys, my name's Peter McCormack. I'm an on-course bookmaker in Perth in Western Australia. On the Great Tip-Off, I go by the moniker The Sandgroper. I've got a couple of free bets for tomorrow, which I'll give you now, for Railway Stakes Day, which is the first day of the Masters. My first tip comes in race 4, and it is horse 3, Pro Consent. It'll be ridden by William Pike and is trained by Adam Durant. Last start, it flew home and ran second to Comfort Me, who takes its place in the big race tomorrow in the Railway Stakes. So my best bet tomorrow, race 4, number 3, Comfort Me. However, in the same race, you can save on number 9, Outback Jack at double figures. He was forced into a leader role last start, and from barrier 2, under Brad Parnham, should get a pretty cosy run and could be the testing material for Pro Consent.
All right, Mick, there we go. There's another show. How do you think that went, Mick? Getting the tips in, the exclusive tips for Ascot Railway Stakes Day.
Fantastic, mate. I already emptied the accounts, so balance is now 0. I'm on everyone's tips. If you don't win, I'll be singing for my supper.
Well, mate, look, we're giving them the stats and we're giving them the early tip. There's you don't get much better than that. Now, talking about tips, it's Mick's moral time. I would assume from your answer earlier on that we're looking at the Gong, Mick.
We are looking at the Gong, and it is a pretty good race. No count de rupees drawn 17 in the car park. Look, for mine, fair dinkum, poor horse, just had no luck. Anyway, best horse in the race, no doubt, but in the car park, can't have it. I've gone for Nudge, Chris Waller, Jason Collett, drawn barrier 6. Gets to the mile, does its best work over the 1,600 metres, 4th up. His effort at Caulfield first up was fantastic. Invitation behind Ice Bath was okay, but given none with Gwyn on. Last start was only okay, but 1,600 metres, that's the mile. I lied, it wasn't $26, it's actually $21, whatever. Just back it each way, we'll collect, let's go.
Maybe it came in 5 points, mate, from...
Nah, just go wrong.
You should have said that. You know, it would have made for better listening anyhow. No,
yeah. Full accountability, mate. That's what we're all about.
That's right. That's right. We don't lie. So, hey, look, another episode over, Mick. And look, we've still got some great stuff left before we sign out for the year. And of course, next year we've got some great stuff planned. So just to run through that quickly, we're talking to a Tasmanian punter personality. Look out for that one next week. Week after, we'll have Shahreem Wu. We'll be talking Hong Kong. Of course, the big Hong Kong Group 1 carnival kicking off there. So still plenty of punting and plenty more tipster shows to come. So, of course, Mick, what do we need them to do, mate, to make sure they always know when the show drops?
Mate, subscribe to that YouTube channel up there on the right-hand side. There'll be a little subscribe button. Hit that, chime in with some comments, give Damo a wrap for his dress. Looks absolutely sharp this week. Well done, mate.
Dress.
11 out of 10. Dress sense, sorry.
Of course.
Dress, whatever.
You
get it. You get it. You also wear dresses, but that's another story.
You're exposing me, Mick. What are you doing?
Hello.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, do your thing, mate. You do you. That's fine. I'll support you. But no, get in there, jump, make some comments, get around us, get around all the punters that are joined in, give us our tips. And why not, when you're on YouTube, show us how good you are, give us your best bet as well.
Absolutely. Look, put your tips down there. We want to know about it. Better still, come to the site, put your tips in there, post your alias, do it all. Our whole site's about your content. You're the star. Look, if you want to see your name, if you think you can do better than some of these guys we're presenting to you, get on the site, join up, put your name in and go for it. Other than that, Mick, I think it's time to sign off and wish the punters all the best for Railway Stakes Day or wherever you're punting in the country or overseas. I hope the betting gods are with you. Mick, see you next week.
See you, mate.
See you, punters.